No matter whether in the realm of cuisine or linguistics, the word taste encapsulates infinite possibilities. Besides gustatory or olfactory experiences, it can also refer to feelings incited by things way beyond food. For the Chinese, taste is a matter of not only the tongue and nose, but the heart. As in the rest of the world, the Chinese use sweetness to explore the feeling of joy and happiness. The taste buds can pick up sweetness before all other gustatory feelings. Sugar is the most common source of sweetness. To Yao Jinghong, sugar means a lot. In the early morning, he starts a big fire to melt sugar. Sweet onion pancakes is a famous traditional dessert in Chaozhou. Yao masters ancestral cooking skills. Today, Yao plans to make more pancakes than usual. Tomorrow, it's Winter Festival, a grand local occasion. Yao's pastry shop sits on Suzhou Street in ancient Dahao town. Here, time seems to have stopped centuries ago. In a nearby Xiashan town, a Ji is busy working by a fire in his smoked duck jerky store. The barrel in front of him exudes a sweet, smoky flavor. He has been familiar with that smell since childhood. Ji has maintained his family's 300-year tradition of making duck jerky. He inherited the method from his father.
Brown sugar, mixed spices, vinegar, salt. The sauce made from these ingredients can satisfy the taste buds of Teochew people. It has always been so.
Brown sugar is raw sugar extracted from sugarcane. Not refined, it almost contains all the nutrients in the sugarcane juice. In China, it is often used as a tonic, while the Teochew people use it as an ingredient for preserving food. After being roasted for 40 minutes in a wooden roaster, the preserved ducks fully absorb all of the flavors of the sauce. Now it's time for the smoking process. To everyone's surprise, the smoke comes from the burning of sugarcane pulp.
The traces of sugar in the pulp can sweeten up the duck's skin. It also renders the duck a nice dark color.
The store consumes about 40 kilograms of sugarcane pulp every single day. The material is easy to acquire. Big sugarcane fields are less than 20 kilometers away from Aji's home. Traversed by the Tropic of Cancer, the fertile Lingnan region enjoys plenty of sunshine and moist air. It becomes a main sugarcane production area. The sweetness of sucrose comes from the glucose and fructose as a result of photosynthesis. On rainy days of winter, sucrose slowly accumulates in sugarcanes. it not only provides calories for the human body, also comforts the heart. Sugar is the source of sweetness in desserts in many regions of China. Some 100 kilometers away from Dahao, Wuxi thrives with industry and commerce. Its residents enjoy a prosperous life. Although Wuxi doesn't produce sugarcane. Locals see pork ribs in soy sauce as a representative of the Wuxi cuisine, not only for the meticulous choice of materials and cooking methods, but also for its sweetish taste. The time-honored brand Sun Feng Qiao makes pork ribs in soy sauce with sugar from Guangdong. Traditionally, 1 ounce of sugar is used for every 10 ounces of ribs. The level of sweetness is unimaginable to non-local diners. Only long hours of simmering can bring out all the flavors of the mix of spices. Sweetness and saltiness with a touch of the bone's fragrance, all these flavors dominate the flavor profile of Wuxi cuisine. As a well-known land of plenty, Wuxi is home to numerous crops. But sugarcane is an exception. That leaves local people's addiction to sweetness an unexplained myth. While heating the sugar, Yao could accurately tell the temperature of the syrup by simply feeling it with his finger. In the ancestral hall, a traditional opera begins. People dedicate gorgeous desserts of all kinds to their ancestors while praying for their own lives. Yao wishes that his cooking schools can bring well-being to the entire family. While young Ji, on the other hand, hopes to find a partner and expand the business. Their wishes vary, but they share the same feeling towards sweetness and a positive prospect of the future. Apart from sweetness, Chinese people seem to also have a gift for appreciating bitterness. The taste bud sensitive to bitterness lies at the base of the tongue. Though hidden deep down, they are unusually sensitive. Chinese people are good at using bitterness in cooking, not only because they can enjoy the nuanced layers of taste, but also because they utilize a variety of condiments that have bitter tastes, such as tangerine peel. Ever since his great-grandfather's generation, Chen Bozhong's family has been making dried tangerine peel for a living. In Xinhui, many local households rely on this business.
I cannot imagine living without dried tangerine peel. It's not just a means of living for us, it's the foundation of my family.
In October, tangerines turn yellow and give a fragrant smell. The famous Xinhui tangerine peel is made from these enticing fruits. Here, after the harvest, the pulp of the tangerine is discarded, while the peel is kept. People wait for a dry, sunny day to turn the inner side of the peel out.
Regardless of its storage time, the peels need to be sun-dried once every year until the sugar, fat and moist have all come out to perfection.
Storage time is a crucial factor in the pricing of dried tangerine peel. The longer the peel has been stored, the higher the price will get. Only the Chinese can appreciate the subtlety of the mixture of bitterness and fragrance from the dried tangerine peel, just as they appreciate green tea, for example. Dried tangerine peel originally was used as a herbal medicine before chefs began to apply it in cooking dishes, soups, and even desserts. In South China, it can even determine the rise and fall of a restaurant. Macau is a city where the East meets West. It's 6 p.m. Chen has just returned to his seafood restaurant after he finished taking stocks. The restaurant, named after his grandfather, has rarely seen bad business for more than half a century. The secret lies in its most famous dish, dried tangerine peel duck. The complicated procedures for cooking the dish were passed down from Chen's grandfather. First, the duck is to be marinated for 10 hours with a variety of seasonings, before it can be shortly deep fried. Further seasoning is needed once the duck is fried. dried tangerine peel is a critical ingredient. Add a certain amount of water and steam the duck for 2 hours. After staying such a long time in high temperatures, all of the dried tangerine peel would ultimately dissolve, leaving the duck immersed in the aroma of the spice. The fine texture of the dish is largely attributed to the use of dried tangerine peel. In Chun's memory, his parents were always busy taking care of their business. Childhood was a bitter memory for him.
They were always busy making a living. Since they couldn't afford a waiter, I started wait at tables when I was 8. The children had to help the parents prepare for the next day's dishes. We couldn't do our homework until things were settled in the restaurant.
Time flies. Now Chun has a decent job with a decent income. To him, the bitterness of life has given way to sweetness.
I'm not saying this is an easy life, but I'm happy that my performance at work is appreciated and acknowledged by my peers. That makes me feel that it's worth the effort.
The Chinese believe that pleasure comes through toil, and one must hold on to their faith even in the face of adversity. They believe that life isn't complete without a certain degree of bitterness. Saltiness, on the other hand, is a gustatory experience totally different from either sweetness or bitterness. Saltiness comes, quite clearly, from the intake of salt. Salt in the form of sodium ions and chloride ions is indispensable to the human body. It keeps the body fluid at the right level and brings out the flavour of a dish's ingredients. It also helps keep the flavours at a balance. Salt assumes a critical role in Chinese cuisine. It highlights the flavour and improves the texture of the ingredients. In China, saltiness is deemed as the most important flavour. Every day, except for rainy ones, Liu Yingwu is busy working in the brine pan.
You have to constantly stir the water so the salt is evenly distributed. It doesn't look good. The crystallization is too slow.
Liu lives by the sea in eastern Guangdong. For generations, his fellow villagers have been making salt for a living, following the time-honoured production tradition. This way of distilling salt from seawater can be traced back to 400 years ago. But as early as 5,000 years ago, the Chinese had known how to boil seawater to get salt. Liu runs 17 salt fields in total. The seashore is about 1 kilometre away. Four-year-old Liu Tao Tao likes to accompany his father to the brine pans. Seawater is stored in this well. It is connected with the sea by an underground culvert. Sea salt is the result of evaporation of seawater. While the water evaporates, The remaining part gradually saturates and finally salt crystallizes. It's a quiet and peaceful procedure. What Liu makes is coarse salt, a must-have ingredient for the family average in the area.
Look, it's very well crystallized and transparent. Such salt from the natural raw material is good.
Ye Chaojian is a Hakka living in eastern Guangdong. He can make the most authentic roast chicken. His way of roasting can secure the best possible aroma for the chicken.
You have to keep stirring the salt till it dries thoroughly.
Wrapped in a piece of paper and covered in coarse sea salt, the chicken is slowly roasted. The loose texture of the sea salt allows it to absorb the moist from the chicken.
Now the chicken is having a nice aroma. It's the result of the heat and the salt as well.
To serve, you can slice the roast chicken up, or keep it as a whole. In Ye's opinion, to make the most out of the chicken's flavour, it's better not to slice, but eat it with your hands. A handful of sea salt is enough to bring the best texture, flavour and aroma out of a chicken. The roast chicken is a great invention by the Hakka people, who has a troubled past. About 1,000 years ago, war and famine forced the Hakka ancestors to depart from China's central plains, embarking on a collective southward migration. One of the tribes eventually settled in the mountains in South China. Throughout their long, strenuous travels, salt was their only means to preserve food. Their attachment to saltiness was then engraved in their genes and became the primary inspiration of their cuisine. Liu and his wife are expecting the birth of their second child. Less than 10,000 yuan per year, Liu's income from making salt is far from enough to support the household. So he takes on extra jobs as an electrician and a fisherman. Most of his fellow villagers have worked away from home. Large tracts of brine pans have gone wasted. But Liu chose to stay.
Salt distillation is a legacy, so after all, I am protecting this legacy. Of course, I can choose to find a job in other places. That's why I will for sure make more money. Making salt is very demanding physically, but as long as my work can pay off, I'm willing to do it.
Acidity. It's a special flavour that not only affects the tongue, but the nose as well. It comes from the interaction between hydrogen ions and the taste buds. Vinegar is the most common source of acidity in Chinese cuisine. In China, vinegar is made from grains. The taste of different vinegar can vary widely. The taste of different vinegar can vary widely due to the difference in the raw material. For example, the aged vinegar from Shanxi has a sharp smell, just as people in North China are outgoing. The vinegar made in South China, in comparison, has a completely different character. The Zhenjiang vinegar is known for its subtle sweetness, which makes it the perfect company for uncooked vegetables and steamed pastries. The Zhenjiang locals would even pour vinegar into soup parcels. They believe that's the most authentic way of having the snack. Locals cannot imagine having Zhenjiang head cheese without vinegar or sliced ginger. The dish is simply incomplete without these condiments. A long process is needed to obtain such a savory sourness. The Zhenjiang vinegar is made from sticky rice. Production starts with soaking the sticky rice. It's first steamed in high temperatures until the starch component gets very sticky. Then, the rice is put under cold running water so that the rice grains contract, making room for microorganisms to propagate. Then, it's time to add wine yeast for mashing, a prelude to fermentation. Next is the critical step: acetic acid fermentation. This determines the outcome of the entire process in terms of quantity and quality. It takes a total of 21 days to produce the acidity and another month for esterification. That's where the aroma of the vinegar comes from. Acid can contribute to the taste of dishes. This is particularly true when it comes to cooking meat. Acidity can accelerate fibrosis of meat and make it more tender and delicious. Apart from that, acidity can also boost digestion and appetite. But acidity is not the only taste that increases appetite. Spiciness can also do the same job. The paths in the mountain become slippery after a night of rain. Hu Su-cheong and her family began a hard day's work. They have to send the chili peppers to the market in the early morning. As winter comes, the chili peppers become less fleshy, but people's passion for them remains unchanged. Hu Su-cheong is a vegetable farmer and also the backbone of her family. There are many women like her in Sichuan. The people with a cheerful, tough and decisive temperament are depicted as spicy in China. At the end of the 15th century, Christopher Columbus brought chili peppers from America to Europe. Some 100 years later, they were introduced to China. The climate of the Sichuan Basin is humid and rainy. People there love the intensity and pungency of chili peppers. Strictly speaking, spiciness is not a matter of taste, but a burning sensation in the mouth. Chili pepper, native to South America, as well as ginger from Southeast Asia and Sichuan pepper, are all the most commonly used spices in Chinese kitchens. Capsaicin and several related chemicals are the substances that give chili peppers their intensity. When consumed, pain receptors in the mouth would send a message to the brain that the person has consumed something hot. Such burning sensation is a good appetite booster. Chili pepper is the signature ingredient of Sichuan cuisine. Be it used as a main ingredient, as a supplement ingredient, or as a seasoning. People living in the Sichuan Basin know how to enjoy leisure best. They have a relentless pursuit for the tastes of food and a unique perception of chili pepper. At the end of the autumn, others begin to dry their chili peppers. But whose peppers are still in the fields, fresh and shiny? She deliberately delayed the planting and harvesting of her peppers so that they can be sold at better prices in the winter. This is something that her husband appreciates and admires the most. Fresh peppers draw the attention of one of their regular customers.
I need those long and red ones, the best and the reddest ones.
It's the best one.
Otherwise, the color of the dishes would not be good.
64-year-old Liu Junjie is a top chef of Sichuan cuisine. 2 years ago, he returned home from the US, bidding a farewell to his chef career overseas. Liu pickled a jar of chili peppers. He changes the water in the moat at the mouth of the jar every day to prevent infestation of bacteria. Pickled chili pepper is a classic invention of the Sichuan people. The taste of chili peppers, after pickled, becomes mitigated and less aggressive. The invention of pickled chili peppers gave birth to a famous cooking method of Sichuan cuisine, yusheng, or fish flavor literally. Yusheng shredded pork is one of the classic dishes of such flavor.
Sichuan cuisine is good at creating mixed flavors. It brings a diverse sensation when the sweet, sour, spicy and numbing tastes are mixed together, and it creates more possibilities for the chefs.
Liu's mind, the pickled pepper not only comes in handy when he cooks, but also embodies a lingering nostalgia. Another fantastic form of chili pepper is broad bean chili paste. It is also something that permeates the memory of all of the Sichuan people. Granny Chen is putting fermented broad beans into minced fresh red peppers. She has to seize every minute to ferment and dry the paste on sunny days. Every year, she would make a jar of broad bean chili paste for each of her children.
It tastes good.
The paste is fermenting quietly in the jars. It will be ready to enjoy soon. Such chili paste, fragrant, spicy, yet not very pungent, is a very important seasoning in Sichuan cuisine. It enhances not only the flavor, but also the color and aroma of dishes. Tofu is plain in taste, while chili paste is intense and aromatic. Such sharp contrast can best engage and stimulate all of our senses. Such enjoyment, which happens when the hot, smooth and inexplicable texture of tofu passes by the tip of the tongue, is the very alchemy in which Sichuan cuisine has charmed foodies around the world. If pickled pepper and broad bean chili paste embody Sichuan's people's creative use of chili pepper, then we have to acknowledge that the numbing, spicy flavour whose popularity has swept China is the most remarkable creation that they've made with this imported plant. Sichuan pepper is native to China. It's one of the most traditional spices in China. The numbing, spicy flavour is The temperature by the sea drops to 5 degrees Celsius. It is the coldest day of the year in Donghu village in Shantou city. It is also the busiest season for fishermen, Li Zhenchong. Not far away from him grows lava, an edible seaweed that can be easily found by the seaside. For Li Zhenchong, it is a gift bestowed by nature. Lava matures quickly and requires timely harvest. The thoroughly washed lava dries on bamboo mats. A special flavour-enhancing substance comes out during this process. The Chinese began to eat it more than 1,000 years ago. It is usually used to make soup. The secret of its flavour-enhancing effect lies in its rich amino acids, including glutamic acid and alanine. It's about a third of protein, and when seasoned with the right amount of salt, the amino acids can work wonders to please our palate. Fish balls with laver in casserole is a well-known dish of Chaoshan cuisine. It blends together the savoury flavours of fish and seaweed multiplying the freshness and daintiness of the ingredients. This delicacy is hard-won.
Only when the tide recedes can we go there to harvest. It would be too dangerous to do that when the tide rises. You can easily fall into the sea.
In order to get more, Li needs to take some risk every now and again. For most people today, it takes little effort to enjoy such a miraculous flavor. 100 years ago, a Japanese scientist extracted glutamic acid from another seaweed. It was later known as MSG. Although MSG has been widely used, the Chinese have different views towards it. In South China, people prefer the flavor of natural ingredients. After the harvest season, Li is going to spend his leisure time fishing, drinking tea, and of course, eating. For Chinese, good taste originally refers to the taste of raw fish. For modern people who are accustomed to cooked food, it takes some wisdom to preserve the freshness and original flavour of foods. This is exactly what the Cantonese are so good at. Huangsha Market in Guangzhou is always busy in the morning. But here you can find a great variety of seafood from all over the world. Zhuang Chun often comes here to look for the very best of ingredients. At the age of 18, he entered one of China's first 5-star hotels and became a chef. Steamed fish is a traditional Cantonese dish that requires high heat and precise control of cooking time. The cooking time should differ based on the size of the fish. The high heat can help maintain the juicy and fresh morsel of fish. The fish skin bursts over high heat, indicating that the fish is very fresh.
The lifeblood of Cantonese cuisine lies in its ingredients. I've been a believer of such simple and light diet. I love natural, authentic, yet palatable foods.
Zhuang Chun was born into a family of Cantonese opera performers in Xiguan. But he's destined to have a lifelong engagement with gastronomy.
This taste consists of two parts. One is fresh, and the other is something that we don't have in English. We can only put it as delicious.
Xi'an is about taste, and beyond taste, it is the most common yet the most esoteric part of Chinese cuisine. We love cooking. It makes life wonderful.
Please stay tuned to explore the world of gastronomy.
嗱，其實咧，我哋今日都講咗好多即係同品酒有關嘅環節啦。
其實咧，我哋都好希望咧喺呢個節目今個環節
To enjoy authentic and healthy cooking,
我哋
and to live a simple and unadorned life is the theme of Zhuang's program. And also the reflection of his life. The diverse culinary flavors of the Chinese kitchen not only please the palate, but also allow the Chinese to express their diverse feelings towards the ups and downs of life that we all experience. They prefer the orchestra of tastes to the solo of any of them. The equilibrium of tastes is what the Chinese chefs pursue. Moreover, such cooking philosophy has extended to other realms of the Chinese life, and even their notion of running the country.